That guy, no, that guy's an expert. Seriously, every week he tells me what to do. This one's rubbish, that one's an embarrassment. You need to change this. Why don't you play more attacking? Why don't you shore it up? I give him the opportunity to do the job.
It's about goddamn time, innit, Tim? If you listened to me at Aston Villa, you wouldn't have got sacked now, would you? And you'd have another job. Hello, everybody. I'm Tim, aka Tactics Tim, and I'm on the Discord. Yep, that's right. We're going to be doing a Discord-only video. Okay, so what are we doing for today? Well, I've been promising this for a while. I've spoken to Daljit. Today we're going to look at transitions. Okay. Now, I'm not going to take you through all the technicalities of transitions, such as what it is a transition, defensive to midfield transitions, midfield consolidation, midfield penetration through into attacking transition, and back again. But what I am going to do is we're going to play a match, and we're literally just going to go through it relatively step by step to see what happens. So, who have I chosen for this exercise? Well, it is Manchester United. Not that I particularly like Manchester United, but Daljit did a good getting started on them. They've got a lot of players available, and they're not an overpowering squad. If I was using someone else, I'm going to offend a lot of people here, but if I was using, say, City, well, we might be a bit too good. So, with Manchester United, I can set up sort of a tactic that is basically just ripped from Daljit's getting started and set it up in a way that, we're probably going to have some problems throughout the match and we need to look out for it. So without further ado, let's just see what we've gone for. We've gone for the 4-2-3-1 and we are playing Liverpool away. Now, bear in mind, I have done nothing else with this, okay? Literally, I have set up the tactic and holidayed all the way through up until the start of the season. So I have no clue how we've been playing. Absolutely no idea of anything, okay? So I'm coming into this completely cold. But that's one of the best ways that I could think I could do it. Because we're going to hopefully, at least, try and step through and see whether there's anything wrong in the game and what we can do about it. So the setup is almost exactly the same as Daljit's. In fact, it is the same as Daljit. The only probable difference from what he would play in this kind of match or from what he was talking about in the video is, at the end he was talking about playing with these two players, the two MCs deeper, so they'd start off in a defensive midfielder position to get a more defensive tactic and maybe catch people on the break. And with playing Liverpool, that's probably the smartest thing to do, and that is probably what you should be doing. For the purpose of this video, I'm not doing that, because what I want to happen is Liverpool to cause us all sorts of problems in specific areas and look out for it. Okay, so without further ado, let's just get into it and let's see how it goes on. I'm sick of waffling at the start of the video. I don't want this to be too long a video. I actually want this to be a relatively short. If it starts getting too long, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be extending this. Okay, no comment. I'm going to be extending sort of the first half into one video and putting the second half into another video, and whoopie-dee, Phil Jones is already injured. Now, what we're going to be looking out for is I want to be seeing that the players are taking command of the game and that throughout the transitions we're able to make sure that we get the ball from defense to attack nicely, and that when we do lose the ball in attack, we can get ourselves into a decent defensive shape. From most of the problems that I think I'm right in saying this, but Daljit will correct me if I'm wrong, that most of the problems he sees, at least with attacking wise, is in the midfield consolidation phase when everybody's trying to get others into the game. So we're also going to be looking out for that. I don't really care. I mean, who else is there. So the idea today is not really to care whether we win or lose, and this is how I would recommend you do these things. Just fire up a game that you don't really care about, but you've done some homework on, or you've stolen everything from Daljit, who's done the homework for you, and just try and get into the game from there. So let's kick on. So control, flexible, everything that Daljit recommended, we're just doing. Like I said, except for playing people at MC rather than probably DMC. So we're going to be looking at this god awful screen. I mean, yeah, let's get rid of this. The only other thing I've not done is I have not marked their AMRs with our AMRs, because I want to see them causing the problem, so we can see before and after exactly what happens. So let's get back on the 2D, shall we? Okay, so let's get going. In fact, before we get going, we can actually see what Liverpool are doing. Okay, so Firmino's pushed up, so they're looking to control the centre here. They've got these two fullbacks providing width. Okay, yeah, so they're essentially looking a bit campy, actually, with their setup, but we'll have to see what happens on the pitch. Let's just go and let's see what happens. This is going a bit too fast for the purposes of this video. It is at medium. I'll move this. I'll leave it at medium. Let's see how we go on with this. Okay, so what's going on? After 10 minutes, we're on key highlights. That's why. Let's give it another go. And you see what's happening. I mean, my entire UI has just decided to kind of crumble before our eyes. Okay, so let's see. So Lindelof to Bailly. So this is exactly what you should be paying attention to. We got play out of defense. So what's happening? They're playing it out of defense. Okay, that's fine. And then whenever we do passes, we've got to be looking for the options. I'm not using match analysis at the moment. That's a totally different area, so I'm not gonna probably touch that in this video. There's a lot of stuff I'm not gonna touch in this video, which is literally concentrating on what happened in the match, okay, and what happens with sort of defensive to midfield to attack, and vice versa. So in this case, we're going into the midfield, and we're about to enter into the consolidation phase, where we try and hold it in midfield, and then people start making their movements. So Ander Herrera to Matic. So we've got it through to Lukaku. So now, okay, so now you've seen what's happened. If I rewind this, so the ball goes into here. So Matic, Lukaku, and then watch this wide player and this wide player. They will start to gradually move forward for the moving from the consolidation to the penetration phase. So so they two have moved forward. Also, Pogba has moved into the space here. Lukaku's trying to hold it up. Okay, so this tends to be where it breaks down. So we've got to pay particular attention to this kind of phase to see what's happening. Now, what you can see is that their kind of midfield is actually on Lukaku. The majority 10 is marking 21. Okay, this is not a bad. In this particular case, it's not a bad thing. And I'll tell you why, because, okay, 3 players have been drawn to Lukaku. So that's number 6, number 14, and I think number 23. So if we look, number 6 is the DC. Number 14 is the left-sided central midfielder, and 23 is the defensive midfielder. So essentially, they've been kind of taken out of the game by Lukaku. So in this case, it's not bad because they've been taken out of the game, and most importantly, Lukaku is strong enough and composed enough to hold him off and still find a pass. Or, well, we're about to find out whether he is, but he should be. If, and this is the prime point, if, for example, we had a player in this position, and the player in this position had limited strength, then you could be in trouble. They're probably going to win the ball back here. So that's why they say in the transition phase, well, in any phase, but especially in these kinds of transitions and with one up front, you're looking like you need a strong player, especially in a support role up from like a complete forward. If you're playing a poacher and your setup behind it is totally different, then obviously you don't. So it is case by case. I'm just making the point that if you're playing this type of system with a complete forward, then you need to be looking out for these things. Okay? So Lukaku keeps it, and then an awful pass into number 21, who is Herrera, I think. Yes, okay. So that's broken down now. So we need to keep an eye on then Lukaku and say, well, is he being crowded out? Do we need to get him more help? How do we get him more help? This is just one example, but we're gonna keep an eye out for this kind of thing. So let's carry on. So Blin has it, plays it into Herrera, Matic into Pogba. Okay, Herrera again. That's god awful again. Okay, so we are breaking down in this kind of area. So there's no need to panic just yet. I know there's 30 minutes gone, but I'm not. I'd have probably already made a few kind of changes so far. But I don't want to do that because it kind of ruins the point. So here, Herrera comes. He plays it back now. That could just be a miscommunication between him and Pogba because they're not used to playing with each other. Totally possible. Could be just he was uncomposed when Emre Can was on him. So at this point, if I didn't know him, I'd be looking at him. Well, he's got composure 13, which is just on average. In fact, he's probably below average for this league. So, this may become a concern that when pressed by someone like Emre Can, he would give the ball away. I'm just trying to build up a picture for you all how to do this kind of interpretation. Now I could be wrong, that you could have done it for a few reasons. I'm just trying to pick out the likely reasons or some reasons, okay? Because once you start doing this and once you start building up your knowledge of this, it becomes easier and easier. But then you can say, well, if I'm playing in this system, we probably need composure or something along those lines. So let's continue on. Okay, so Salah, we're in trouble here because Salah's got a bit of a run going into Firmino and they score. All right, that's not so good now, is it? So let's look what happens in the So let's have a look at what happens in the the attacking to defensive transitions, or technical. We're still in the midfield penetration phase, but I mean, well, penetration consolidation phase because we're still getting these people moving up. But okay, so Rashford picks up the ball here. Let's see how he does it. So Matic goes into Pogba, right? Now Pogba into Rashford. Okay, so Rashford now has the ball, but he's literally got nothing on. If you look at this, we're being totally crowded out by, by everyone. We've got him receiving it on his left foot for a start, whereas we all know majority of us know Rashford's right-footed. We also have number 11 here, Salah, who's come back to help defend. We have Alexander here, and we have 10 Coutinho, and 23 Emre Can. Okay, so what's happening with this is once he receives it on his left foot, let's see what happens. Okay, so he managed probably to get rid of sort of Salah, but he's under pressure by Salah. He's under pressure here. He's under pressure here. That's not an easy pass by any stretch, and he does make it. He does make it, but we've had a warning sign about this kind of area. So the good news is that Herrera, I think, yeah, he's got okay off the ball. It's not great, but he did manage to find a little bit of space. But then when Herrera gets the ball, he's got two options. Well, he has a... His best probably option is just keep hold of the ball here, but it depends. We've got him on a roaming playmaker duty, okay? So roaming playmaker duty is looking for risky passes. So what did Daljit say in the video? He said, you know, if you wanted to keep it tighter in this position, you go for a CMS. Now CMS does not have risky passes on. So we can see the effect of this, okay? Because if he's got risky passes on, he's going to try something interesting or more interesting, but he can screw it up. And if he screws it up, they're on the attack. So then we've got to go to the defensive transition. So let's see what happens. Okay, so he tries to knock the ball back to I think this is Pogba again. So that's the second time. That's the second time we've seen that kind of misunderstanding. Okay, could be a composure issue, could be a misunderstanding. We don't know. But again, the risky passes is not helping. Then what happens is Emre Can sort of plays it into Salah. But while we're doing this, we need to also be looking at how players come back, because we've got Rashford. I think this is Rashford over here, and we've got the three midfielders here. So let's see what happens when they drop back. So Pogba kind of misses it. Blind is kind of struggling to get back as well, and Salah with his pace goes through. So at this point, we're left kind of... we're actually still got 4-on-2. You'd still expect United to be doing a bit better than this, but we do know that Salah is a dangerous player, and he's got a clear sort of run at the defense here. Okay, and then once he's got a clear run at the defense, we've got our right back, which is Valencia. Now Valencia is a decent player, but he's not what I would call, you know, the best right back in the world. He's very good going forward, but he's not, say, you know, massively defensively sound. If you look at positioning, tackling, marking especially, his positioning, tackling, anticipation is probably about borderline, you know, general what you'd need for the Prem. And then concentration is okay as well. He's got very good physicals though, and he's decent-ish going forward with some pace. But his marking's atrocious. So when Firmino's kind of pulled on a player like this, you know you're in a bit of trouble. So Salah cuts inside, and then sort of, I think this is it doesn't cover himself in glory either, but it's a good finish. So from there you can see that what we saw was a miscommunication again, whether it's composure or Pogba issue, that led to the goal. But don't forget, we spotted that earlier, so we already knew that could be a concern. And this is the first game of the season, so obviously you've got to see things happen a few times before you make most of the changes. But when I saw that earlier, I immediately knew there could be a problem. So you had your warning, and then they scored from it. So that's what you got to do from Football Manager. You got to try and think about these things and see which is a warning, which is not a warning. See whether things, you know, keep going. So when I spotted it, I thought it might be an issue, but you know, I let it go. So, and I've kind of paid the price for it. So that's the thing about this type of sort of game. Now, what's happening, if you look, we need to look at this, okay? I can see, alright, there's a bit of a warning sign here, and I'll show you. Okay. we're looking at an attacking transition, right? We're looking at an attacking transition for sort of Liverpool. So what happens here is Bailly clears it with his head, but only as far as Mane. Okay, Mane knocks it back to Firmino. Now watch this little. This is where they're going to go from the consolidation, but also into a more penetrative mode, and it happens very quickly with Liverpool. So when this happens, watch number 14, and watch number 10, and then watch our equivalent defenders here and here. Okay, well, sorry, not defenders, our midfielders. Alright, so you're looking out for these four. Now watch what happens. So Mane gets the ball, gets into Firmino. Look at them. Henderson has totally lost our midfield. Okay? So this is what we were discussing earlier. That they are at home, Liverpool are at home. They're going to be very, very dangerous. Okay? We've got the sort of wingers now are not marking their fullbacks because I didn't put the PIs in. So what have we got? At least we've got our wingers are not marking their wingers like Daljit suggested. So you got 19 here, you got 11 here, relatively unmarked. Okay. And these two have, at least Coutinho, you see Coutinho on this side has broken the lines. Now, if you look at sort of Coutinho, we look at the formation first and look at Coutinho. Coutinho's box-to-box in this. So you'd expect him to make these forward runs. And he's got very, very good off the ball. Okay? So in general, I'd be wanting to set up, if I was doing this match for real, I would have the two defensive midfielders. We've just seen a problem now. It's not led to a goal. If we look at this, Coutinho kind of fluffed it. You know, he had a shot. He could have actually easily played in Salah. Because don't forget, we're not marking these now. So Salah's completely free. Because what's happened is, Blind knows that his the centre-back and Lindelof... Well, Lindelof's a bit dodgy anyway. But he knows that the ball's come in. Now, Lindelof has to try and kind of cover all this space. He doesn't really cover himself in glory himself, but let's just sidestep that for a bit. So Lindelof is there, but Blinder's tucked in because he knows there might be trouble in that area. So that actually left sort of Coutinho with a pass out here, but he's a bit selfish, so he whacks it behind. So we've already spotted some errors here. We've already spotted some stuff that could pose a problem. So we need to think about kind of addressing this. Now, our transition here was reasonable, and it's set Rashford away. So let's just look at what happened on that. We're past it. But in fact, let me go back to it. This can cause problems. I'm hoping it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Okay, so it goes into Bailey, Lindelof, Matic, Herrera through to Pogba. Over the top for Rashford. He uses his pace. Boom. So that's a real simple kind of transition for us. It's not too bad actually. But I at the moment, you see, we're not on top. We're playing a control sort of flexible. Salah's really tearing us apart. You can see. Look, okay. So we know that there's a problem on this. We know that there's a problem here, because what you can see. So Mane into Firmino. They're exploiting. If you look at this, Firmino is just absolutely killing us in this space. Look at this. Look at this. Absolutely killing us in this space. So this is what I was talking about when I said you need to be looking at sort of... you need to be wary where you weaken a formation and be looking at sort of how the AI is exploiting it. Because Liverpool are killing us in this space. You can see the amount of space and time Firmino's got. Now, Firmino is on, I think, his complete forward on attack. but he's got very, very good movement. He's got a lot of all-round skills. So he is just absolutely annihilating us. So watch once he gets the watch Manny gets the ball. So he plays it into Firmino. Now look at where we're coming back from an attacking to defensive transition here. Okay, now our two midfielders are, I think, was this from a set piece? Yeah, okay, so this was a set piece. This actually could be, if I'm honest with you, this could be the problem with the set piece. In fact, it probably is a problem with the set piece. But let's just do it anyway. Let's just do the set piece. I have not changed from the default set pieces, so this is why we're having this type of issue. But you can still see that transitions from set pieces are very, very important. Very, very important. Because what's happened here is we've got 21 and 31, who are our midfielders that, we need kind of dual pivoting, shuttling. Now, they are caught here. Okay? Which leaves us absolutely... I mean, this is such a lot of space on a football field. So, because we're caught up from the set piece, then we're caught out. But look, everybody is bombing forward at a much faster rate than we are. Look at Salah. Now, also look at Rashford. We're not marking these AMR, AML. So actually, Rashford, even though he's on support, he's looking a bit lazy, really, isn't it? And the problem with that is, what happens is, now Daley Blind's on a defensive duty. So Daley Blind is not going to step out that early. So what you see is he's leaving a reasonable gap here. Okay, that's reasonable. Now, when the ball comes into... Watch when the ball comes into Salah. Okay, Blind stays where he is. Now, it's a first-time pass, yes. But Blind's staying where he is. The reason why he's not as aggressive is because we're giving him a defend duty. If we're giving him a support or especially attack, he'd be quicker. He'd be a much higher mentality. He'd be a bit higher up positionally, and he'd hit Salah sooner. Okay. In this case, Salah's got a lot of time. Henderson has run all the way down here and breaking through, and that's a really good chance. That is a really good chance. In fact, that's their only clear-cut chance. But that's why Dalji always says, don't necessarily just pay attention to those kinds of chances. What the AI says is a clear-cut chance. Now we tried to get the ball out, couldn't get the ball out. Coutinho gets the ball into Salah again, who's causing no end of havoc. Yeah, okay. So Salah, now let's have a look at what happened here. So we've been under the cosh. Salah is having free reign. Don't forget, we're not marking him. We're not marking Salah. So what's happening is he's getting absolute free reign down this right-hand side. Blind can't really deal with him. Watch this. Oop, see you, Blind. And then crosses in. Boom. We're getting absolutely killed. So it's clear now. You've been watching numerous transitions here. We've been stepping through them. We've seen Blind. We've seen Salah in a lot of space. We've seen Blind struggling to contain Salah previously. We see down this left-hand side, we've got a roaming playmaker here. We've seen a problem with these two communicating or getting things right. So we've seen that actually the left-hand side is quite weak. So you'd be looking to change this, and you'd be looking to start from Daljeet's advice, which is get the inside forward back to deal with their AM. In this case, Salah's an AMR. So you could imagine if Rashford was bombing back to do some marking job, then it wouldn't be, Salah wouldn't be getting the type of space that he is, but he is getting that type of space. And if you look at this, the stats, we've not really done too much in this half. So the idea is then, how do we kind of combat this? Okay, yeah, all right, let's go through this. Sorry, I was talking about how we kind of combat the fact that they're absolutely killing us. Now, let's see. Alright, so see how this comes again. Alright, you'll see another very similar pattern. Very similar pattern. Okay, so let's go through this and we'll see. Because you might just say, oh, well, they crossed it. I can't remember quite what happened. But they crossed it and then they just scored. So somebody switched off in the box. But the actual goal happened way, way, way before this. Don't forget, we're not actually using Daljit's recommendations here. So there was going to be problems. We're trying to see whether we can spot the problems. And hell yeah, we can spot the problems. So let's walk through this one together again. Okay? So Matic gets the ball, plays it into Pogba, right? Pogba gets the ball, plays it back to Ander Herrera. Okay, so at this point, Herrera's not got too many options. And we know from previously, he's on more risky passes and his composure's obviously slightly dodgy. Now, he plays it into Rashford, decent enough. Rashford comes inside, he's got plenty of support, plays it to Herrera. Now, what did you just notice there? What just happened? Let's take it back. Herrera. Okay. Now, Herrera looks like he's playing it to Lingard, okay? But he could be playing it to Pogba. I'm not too sure. But we've seen this a few times. So Pogba actually goes to the ball, but can't get there. So it's another miscommunication from Ander Herrera that we spotted in the first 10-15 minutes. We spotted these kind of miscommunications. We also spotted what Daljit told us about the inside forwards needing to mark the AMR because of the space that they get. And we also spotted the problem with the space here. We spotted that in the first 10, 15, 20 minutes. And even pre-game we had an idea that this was going to happen. So what I'm trying to point out to you is I've left this artificially way too long. We shouldn't be leaving these kinds of issues with a team like Liverpool because we're getting absolutely tanked. But I've artificially left this a much longer time because I wanted to hammer home that these kinds of little incidents that you see early on are actually coming back and, turning up a bit later. Okay? So in this case, now watch what happens here. So, Ander to Herrera. So now we've lost the ball. Okay, we've lost it. So, actually, what Liverpool are doing here is called defense to attack transition. They're doing a pure kind of counter-attacking transition. But what enables them to do this? Watch this. Okay, so our fullback is here and here. Now, what do we notice again? Yep. Everybody following me? Okay. So, there is so much space here. So much space. That when they do get the ball, and they tank it clear, Firmino, with his quality, is able to find absolutely acres of space. Right? Okay. So, watch what happens. Now, Firmino finds a space, he's got time to turn, and then he can even run at the defence. What's also happening, Salah, exactly the same problem that we identified. He's been killing Blint all day, and Blint is not getting any support from Rashford down this side. So he gets again. What happens? Well, plays it back to Chan this time, who plays it back to Henderson, into Coutinho. Now, they get a free kick. But the reason why I wanted to show this, right, is because if it wasn't for our mistakes, tactically, they wouldn't have got this free kick. This wouldn't have happened, this passage of play. And then, obviously, from the free kick, or actually it's kind of a knock-on, so he gets back, crosses it back in. So you could argue poor defending as well, set-piece routine. But the point I'm trying to make is they wouldn't have had that free kick, okay, if we hadn't got things wrong tactically. So in football, you've got to play the percentages. You're not going to be able to stop all of these. But I'd say out of the 3 goals, we probably could have stopped most of them. They probably would have only had sort of one goal. Okay. So what I'm going to do, it's been 35 minutes. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and do a few sort of changes now, in line with what we've done. I've never done these changes with United before, so I don't know what's going to happen. It might bring about more problems, I don't know. But I'm going to do some changes now to try and counteract this. Now, if you make some changes, don't be disheartened. Honestly, when I've done this, I actually very rarely play this formation. So the changes that I make are not necessarily the best. If you would do something different, do it. And also don't forget that there are kind of multiple. I mean, there are absolutely multiple ways of kind of stopping goals going in or fixing problems that you see. In this case, I'm just doing what I probably would do. And actually use some of the advice from Dalji. Notice Blin's also on a yellow card up against Salah now, so that's another area for concern. So if we look at this, with 3-0 down, we spotted a lot of problems. Now also look at what we've done. Even if you couldn't spot these problems outright, I've not been showing you actually the player ratings. But look, Ander Herrera, we spotted numerous problems with him. Look at his rating, 4.6. Blind has been getting no help, and he's been struggling, 6.3. And then look over here, Rashford, who's also been dire, not helping, 6.2. Lukaku as well, who's not had a sniff, right? I'm enjoying this just because they're losing, but I'm not a big United fan, let's just put it like that. But we've got to try and fix these problems. We are the United manager. So, first thing, I would actually take Blind off. The only reason is he's on a yellow card, so I don't want Salah running at him. Then I'm going to say to Rashford, following on from Daljit's recommendations, that you need to be marking the AMR. And then Lindegaard, you need to be getting back and marking the AML. Okay, so that's that sorted, or we hope. Now in midfield, Herrera's been absolutely shocking, and so has Matic. I'm not going to take him off. You might need to take him off in this instance because he's had such a poor game. Maybe his morale's tanked or what. I'm not going to do it just because I can't be bothered, really. But Matic, let's move Matic back, and let's move Herrera back. So in this place, I'm a big fan of the Sergio Valenti, Segundo Volante. Okay, that's the right. It's like a northerner trying to pronounce those names. Probably not going to happen, is it? I'd actually keep with the same theme. I'd have 2 supports here. And what I'd also do is, let me see, what do we want? The problem we're going to have now, and the problem with this that we're probably not going to be able to fix by the end of the game, we've got to make an attempt, is with the 2 deeper sort of players, we'd need to get the ball out. Okay, so with that being said, we could make him an attacking Volante or a support Volante. But now, okay, let's put it like this. I'm probably not going to be able to solve this for the end of the game, just because I don't have much experience with a 4-2-3-1, and especially a deep one. But that's okay. You don't necessarily have the experience of this either, or you're new to the game, or you're new to football. That's fine. That is absolutely fine. Okay? So, what I would recommend you do is just, when you're putting it together, you do the changes. Okay? You do your changes. And then, after, you see, okay, well, I've done my changes, but what problems could arise from these changes? Now, the problem that I think could arise from these changes is, we've got 2 DMs, and we've got sort of this layer here, okay? But there's still a lot of space here. So one, from a defensive standpoint, well, they've got a lot of space to operate in here. Because if you remove the space from here, well, it gives them space here. But actually, I'd rather have them have space here than probably here. It's right in front of the defense in the golden zone. Okay. Now, attacking wise as well for us, not just defensively, is that we might not be able to get the ball out from here. Okay. Get the ball out from here into the midfield and attack area. So those are the two problems I could see sort of arising from this particular scenario. So we're at 40 minutes. What I'm going to do there is we're going to stop, and then the second part is going to be using these changes in the second half just to see what happens, see whether we can get a goal back, and go from there. Alright, bye for now. Alright, welcome back everybody. So, we're getting ready for the second half, made the tactical changes, and I've also tore them a strip off and said that was not good enough. So let's see what happens. Just as a quick refresher, if you're coming back after a little bit, we've noticed that Herrera's been playing dreadfully. We've noticed that they're exploiting the space that we thought they would be exploiting. We're 3-0 down, and I'm a happy bunny because United are losing. The problem is we need to fix that. So we've now gone to 2 DMs. We've recognised the problem that's deep. The only other issue that can come from this is they now get more space in this area here. Or we can't get the ball out. So we're looking for that in this half. And also what we're looking for is that Rashford and Lindegaard now mark the AMs that come forward. Okay. So let's see what's going to happen with this here. Okay, I'm going to actually switch this to, let me see, key, because I'm not really bothered about, if I'm totally honest with you, I'm not really bothered about coming back into this game. This is just a pure transition exercise. Okay, so what you notice is Roberts, first of all. Now, the kickoff highlight is also quite useful. So Robertson gets the ball, plays it into number 14, into 19, Mane. Now look at number 14, our number 14. Okay? Now, he's back defending, whereas previously he was not defending. He was, at this point in time, he'd probably be around here. Okay. Now, he's been told to mark sort of Mane, and this gives an opportunity because now Mane flits into the centre, but because he's been told to mark, I assume number 14 is still hovering quite a bit deeper than he seemed to be, at least in the first half. So at least now that Lindegaard is attempting to protect the flanks a bit more, because what we know is that they're still, I'm assuming, looking at this, I'm still thinking that they've got inside forward. Mane's cut inside, so he'll be an inside forward, and that they've still got their complete wing backs, I think, just from that small screen. If you want to know how to do that, just practice. Yeah, in fact, they've actually gone more aggressive on the right hand side in this case. That means that when the transition happens, they're going to be, Trent Alexander-Arnold is going to be moving to penetrate much quicker than previously. So we've got to watch out for that. Robertson should be about the same. Let's go back. Did I move it to key? I did indeed. I'm losing my mind. Alright, I think this is where the highlight ended. So, did it end here? Yeah, there we go. Alright. So, we're just looking for a bit better performance this second half. Not to concede as many goals, just to see what's happening, see whether they get more attacking play. We've shut them down a bit more this time. I've not touched the set pieces still, both attacking and defensive. So, we'll have to see. So Herrera's got the ball. Okay, much better from Herrera. Matic, Herrera, decent. Okay, now we didn't really get a decent shot on. It's given us said that that's a half chance. But if you think about it, this is probably the most attacking we've had in a long while. A long while. I don't think we had much in the first half except for that half chance that we got a bit lucky on. We're still not controlling possession. You can see. Actually, it's Liverpool that controls possession. I don't really care too much about that, if I'm honest with you. And if you look at this, sort of, I've taken my eye off the ball because we're playing key highlights. But the time's ticked down, and we're actually at 76 sort of minutes. If this was happening for real, I'd probably be going more attacking at this point. I might be going... Let me think about this. I might go... You see, I'm low. I said I might go a bit more fluid, but I'm not too sure I would at this point. Obviously, 3-0 down, you just have to just absolutely go for it. And really, you should be making sort of you should be making substitutions at this point. So Herrera should have been yanked off yonks ago. So should probably Rashford as well, actually, because he's made no. In fact, I've not even put. I think Martial's injured actually, so Martial's not on the bench. But I'd be looking at making. If this was a serious game, I'd be looking at making those. The issue, or what we've seen at least from this 25 minutes is it's not been all Liverpool. In fact, it's been probably quite even this second half. Not necessarily just in the way of possession, but we've definitely had the better or the only chance of this second half so far. But we have managed to shut Liverpool down. They're using exactly the same formation, pretty much exactly the same duties, and we've completely shut them down this half. So the point is, Lukaku's just missed some reasonable. He should be hitting the target there. The point is, okay, I shouldn't have done a second part. That's point one, right? Because it's been so quick. I shouldn't have done this second part. But the point is that during this second half, they've had absolutely zilch, right? We were absolutely creamed the first half, okay? Absolutely. Let me just say we were absolutely creamed in the first half. Sorry, okay. Now we'd spotted quite a lot of these errors early on, okay. We spotted them. Pretty much all of those kind of issues, and even then, pre-match, we knew we might actually face a lot of these errors, a lot of these issues that we did face. So we'd already identified it. We already knew what was going to happen. We saw what was happening in the first 10 to 15 minutes. All right. So we then waited until half-time to make those changes. The reason why we waited, because I wanted to hammer home the point that these kinds of things matter. So you've seen quite a few times now how what we spotted early actually came back later in the game to cause a goal. Okay? And then for the second half, we had a plan. Now, I'm not a 4-2-3-1 whisperer. I'm not a 4-2-3-1 genius. I very rarely played it. You can speak to Dalji. In fact, I think in my FM games in 16 and 17, to give you a bit of background, when I started with Dalji, was FM 16, okay? And I was atrocious. I reached out to him on the forums, and I said, Dalji, you know, I saw you're in Asia, because I'm English, but I live in Asia now. And I said to him, you know, can you help me? I've noticed you're doing... I noticed you're doing your thing. You're now freelancing. You know, do you have time to help me? And this is where all the Discord came from. Anyway, my point at that time is I was somewhere in the Belgium third division. I couldn't win a game. Couldn't get out of the Belgian third division. I spent at least about 6 seasons not being able to win a game and get out of the Belgian third division. I got sacked. I got relegated, everything. And then after working with him for a while, FM16, I ended up taking over Antwerp, taking them to the title in Belgium, and last game I ended up taking over Lincoln and getting successive promotions. Now, in all that time, I have never used a 4-2-3-1. In any session with Dalji, I've never used a 4-2-3-1. Okay? Now, if I can come on now and do some changes at half-time using his getting started guide to shore up a 4-2-3-1 against sort of a Liverpool away from home, then you can too. So don't be afraid to make the changes. You're going to make mistakes. But just try and spot these kind of little errors that we just spotted today. And try and identify pre-match what you're looking for. Because then if you've already got it in your mind pre-match, then it gives you the chance to look at, exactly what's going on. Try and spot these errors in the match. It kind of alleviates a bit of pressure on yourself. So what we've seen is that even me, who's never used this formation before, I've spotted the errors, and using his getting started guide, which he's kind of introduced somewhat what you should do, we've managed to stem the tide in the second half. So my point is, if you're actually starting with this against Liverpool, and don't forget United haven't got a greatly balanced squad either. They're not sort of the top team in the league, and even for them away at Liverpool is going to be a very, very tough fixture, because Liverpool seemingly they're set up better defensively than they do in real life. We got out of the second half without conceding a goal, and in fact probably had the bit of the better of the second half. So if you'd set up exactly like that, or at least made the changes in the first 15 minutes rather than artificially letting it go on, then you'd have probably got a credible result out of it. So what I'm just trying to say is, don't be afraid to make a change. Don't be afraid to try something. And then if you keep trying it, it's not working, or something isn't working, then just post on the Discord and we'll come and try and help you. Post a PKM on the Discord, we'll come and try and help you. If you're having problems spotting those smaller issues like we identified today, post a PKM on the Discord. That's what it's there for. If you're first team or above, you can post it to the PKM area, and people will be on it in a shot. If you're reserve team, it's a bit more of a crapshoot, but you can still post it in general chat, and if I see it, I'll get around to it and try and give you at least some feedback on it. It's a bit busy at the moment just because it's obviously FM18's just been released, so Daljit's going crazy on the videos, and I will be producing more. This is only the first one. I will produce more transition videos. Probably I've done one this week now, so maybe one next week as well. We might do the next game. I might change up the formation. I'm not too sure. We'll have to see. If you do want to see a formation for next transition video, just let me know, whether it's 4-3-3 or what, and we can do a decent transition video. Well, I've strung that out for long enough so it's not totally embarrassing for the second video. And yep, thanks for watching, and any questions, just let me know. Thanks everybody. Bye bye.